Be prepared to have your mind blown. This is the most delicious thing I've ever eaten. Hi, I'm Chef AJ. And recently I put up a video of the best deconstructed sushi bowl. If you know me, you know that sushi is my favorite food in the whole world. Vegan sushi, that is. But who can afford to go to Mikuni's every week when it's like $50 for 4 of those rolls? So I created the deconstructed bowl, and I had so many nice comments on YouTube and so many emails. People telling me this is now in their rotation, it's their family's favorite because the varieties are endless, it's inexpensive, and it's easy to make. I started thinking, well, sushi's my favorite food, but what's a close second? And it's nachos. And I thought, what if I made sushi nachos? Now, it sounds weird, I know, but bear with me because it really works. Now, in a perfect world, I wouldn't be allergic to wheat, and I would use actual wontons as the chips. Now, you can buy wonton wrappers, and then you don't have to fry them. You can actually bake them. There are many recipes online. You can even buy already baked wonton strips. They often have oil and salt. But I can eat corn, and I can make corn chips so easily, and we tried it, and both my husband and I loved it, and it's like my favorite thing in the whole world to eat. So first, let me just show you how to make the corn chips if you're going to use corn chips. So I think really the secret to making healthy corn chips without oil and salt is to get a really good tortilla. And I recommend Mi Rancho, even if you have to buy them online, because the THINcredibles really is the secret. You see, these are only 35 calories, and it's not about the calories, it's about the fact that they are so thin that when you cook them, they taste like an actual chip. I've fooled, regular people with these at parties. They're just so light and thin because of the thinness, and they have just healthy organic ingredients. You want to make sure that even if you don't eat all organic corn, because it's so heavily genetically modified, you do get organic. And they have these at every store where I live, Safeway, Rayleigh's, Sprouts, Whole Foods, but I have seen them online, and they are fabulous. And it's super easy to make. You can bake them in the oven, and I have recipes for it on this YouTube channel in Unprocessed. But the easiest way to do it is the way Al Schmidt, my 88-year-old friend who I've interviewed several times, who didn't even go on a plant-based diet to reverse his heart disease until 80s, makes them. So there's 12 in a pack, and I take 6. And I'm using the trays for the Breville air fryer. And what I do is I take the 6, and then I just eyeball it. I don't worry about being perfect. I cut it in half. And then I cut it in half, and then half again and half again. So I'm basically cutting it in eighths. I tried doing it in sixths, but eighths work better. And it only takes 5 minutes in the air fryer at 325 degrees, and they crisp up so nicely. You can see these are the finished ones, and they're nice and crispy. I always keep these on hand because chips and salsa, believe it or not, is my favorite dessert, as weird as that sounds. Might have been a sugar addict for 43 years, but I would much rather eat savory food now. And so what I do is that I just put them on the tray. I usually do this kind of zigzag pattern because then they all tend to fit. And you can flavor your baked chips or your air fried chips simply by spraying them with a little water bottle and having the spices adhere. But I don't really do that unless I'm making my cinnamon crispa recipe, because I'm generally serving them with something savory like a nacho. And today it will be a sushi nacho. This is a fusion dish, and I'm telling you, it's so good. And because I always have chips on hand, it doesn't take time at all to make, but I'm just showing you how to make the chips. We have some wonderful vegan restaurants up here like Zest Kitchen, and they actually allow us to bring our own baked chips, and they will make us their amazing vegan nachos. So I often do that if I'm going to eat nachos out. But nachos don't just have to be Mexican in flavor, like beans, they can be sushi nachos. And it's just, they're so fun. I love food that you eat with your hands. That's probably why I like sushi so much. And nachos is a close second. So I'm just going to stick this in 325 for 5 minutes on the Breville, and then they bake up to these nice crisp chips. So as I said on my video for the best deconstructed sushi bowl, what makes sushi sushi are certain flavors, and of course the rice. However, because I'm serving these as nachos, I'm not using sushi rice. What's great about sushi rice for sushi is it's nice and sticky, so it's easy to roll. But because this is going to be a topping for chips, I didn't want the rice to stick together. So instead of using my usual organic sushi rice, this time I use a longer grain rice, a Basmati. And I actually put a little bit less water than the rice cooker called for, so you can see that instead of the rice sticking together, it's nice and separate. And because we're eating it as nachos, it wouldn't be good if it all stuck together. What makes sushi rice sushi is the addition of some rice vinegar. I am using unsweetened. How much you use will be up to you. I'll give you an idea for a ratio right below in the show notes. We don't want it too saturated since it's going to go on the chips. Now this is one of the dish that you want to eat right away after making it because the chips will get soggy otherwise. So I'm just stirring the vinegar into the sushi rice, and then some other flavors that remind me of sushi. So one is nori. So you can just use strips of nori, but I don't like big strips of nori in my mouth. So what I do is when I buy nori, I put it in a blender, but I can just get it already like this from local spicery. And this is what's going to give it kind of that sushi flavor. So you can sprinkle as much or as little as you want. Thank you, Nick, from local spicery for making it so easy. And then of course, wasabi. As much or as little as you want. You can get pure wasabi powder, but I usually get the kind that you see at the restaurants, and I usually do, I don't know, a couple of squeezes. I don't really measure, guys, for most of my recipes, so that's probably good. And now we have our flavored sushi rice. And as with any kind of nachos, we can top them with whatever we like, whatever your favorite sushi toppings are. But first I want to mix in all the flavors. You can't have sushi without pickled ginger. There we go. When I'm doing the sushi bowl, I actually put it in here, but because I want a beautiful presentation, I'm going to put it on top. Now this is the one product that I use that has a small amount of sugar, but very soon we're going to have Chef Julia Dunaway on my show teaching us how to do it without sugar, but again, this is a condiment. I do not worry. So now let's dress the nachos. So this is going to serve both my husband and myself, and we'll just eat it family style. I'm going to be putting some spicy things on one side that he doesn't like, so I'll make sure to show you how I do that. And then we want to fully load them. So we've got our rice. And we're just going to sprinkle it over the top. Now this rice is at room temperature. You don't, I mean, I guess you could eat it hot, but that would be kind of weird. We never really eat hot sushi, but then do we really ever eat sushi nachos? This was 4 cups of rice, by the way, which is about the perfect size for the 2 of us. And I didn't want it cold. I do the sushi bowls cold, but I wanted this kind of more at room temperature. So we're going to just cover it with the rice. Yum. And then what we're going to do is add our toppings. So let's start with what I personally like in my sushi, which is, of course, just as much color as possible, so you can just sprinkle on. These are some shredded carrots. It's very traditional for vegan sushi to be carrot and cucumber, so we will have those items here. I just love the color purple, so much so that I recently dyed my hair a shade of purple called eggplant. So we'll put a little bit of that on. And again, you can always have the toppings nearby. The family members can add what they want, and you can even add more while you're eating it. It's like having the colors of the rainbow. Red bell pepper. I like to use the Vidalia Chop Wizard because I think the finer you chop your toppings, the easier it is to eat and the more delicious it is. I don't care for green bell pepper. They're unripe and they tend to give me indigestion, but I do love the red ones and they're so pretty. You could use tomato, I suppose, but I like the crunch of the red bell pepper better. And there we go. And then, of course, cucumber, a very traditional sushi ingredient. Now, if you're lazy, like me, I usually just make the deconstructed sushi bowl and have the chips on the side and dip it in, and there is nothing wrong with doing it that way. That's lazy man's sushi nachos, but I like to make a pretty presentation if at all possible. If I have any leftover vegetables, I can just save it for tomorrow's salad, so that's fine. One of my favorite sushi ingredients, or just any kind of nacho ingredients, is green onion, the green part of the scallion. And I like to chop that fine as well. Aren't these beautiful? And then mango. So again, we have almost every color in the rainbow, don't we? You can certainly use fresh. I just use the organic frozen mango. I defrost it and I just cut it up. Oh, this is so good. I hope you'll try it, and I hope I'll get as many nice emails as I did for the sushi bowl. There we go. I like a lot of the mango, so we'll just use all of it that we have here. And then my husband does not like spice, so what I'm going to do is on my side, I am going to put a little bit of chopped jalapeno. He does not like that, so we're going to just put it on my side. I made sure to take the seeds out so that it wouldn't be as spicy. And then the pickled ginger. Oh, this is what makes it so authentic and delicious. And again, it's just a condiment, so I don't worry about the small amount of sugar and salt and condiments. I don't cook with sugar and salt or really eat them, but this is just so much more authentic. They did have a brand that was kind of a funky pink color that was sweetened with barley malt. It was very expensive and not very good, so I really like the Ginger People. It's organic, it's sold at Whole Foods. So again, we keep this jar of ginger nearby because sometimes we like to add more. I never seem to give you enough ginger at the sushi restaurants. There we go. And then how about some avocado? Because that's often in sushi. And it's often in nachos. I don't see why this wouldn't work with the wonton again, but I have to be gluten-free and wheat-free. And I choose to be oil-free. There we go. Look how beautiful. Wow. And now, just two more things. Very often sushi has sesame seeds. Black probably would have shown up better, but that's okay. I had the white, so we'll sprinkle those over the top. Just use all of them here. A lot of times the avo cucumber roll is rolled in sesame seeds, and it gives it a nice authentic kind of Asian flavor. And then a sauce. Now, if you like soy sauce or coconut aminos or Bragg's, you can use it, but it's going to be very watery and it's not going to be so easy to eat. So I recommend something that's more like a teriyaki type sauce that has thickness to it. And teriyaki sauce, in Cooney's, it's amazing, but it's, you know, it's soy sauce and it's sugar and all that kind of stuff and salt. I like the sweet chili sauce from I Love Date Lady. I can give you a 10% discount coupon below. It's nice and thick, and it's very, very low sodium and no sugar. It's date sweetened. And so what I like to do, oh man, is just put it over the top. Look at that. Wow. And you can always add more at the table side. So this will be my greatest contribution, I think, to humanity. Because I can honestly tell you, this is literally, and I'm not exaggerating, because I know I sometimes do, this is literally the best thing that I have ever eaten in my life. Sushi nachos. Oh. You have to try these. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Chef AJ, and I hope you now believe that I make healthy taste delicious.